Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BSV TV. I'm your host Satoshi, and on this show we'll be defending the one and only, truly genuine Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that Satoshi Nakamoto designed in his white paper as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system for the world. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. So all the statements that you hear on this show are opinion and must only ever be taken as opinion. They are never to be taken as any form of advice, family, financial, sexual or otherwise. And on that note, let's sit back, relax, have some fun and enjoy the show. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and set your own fee on Streamanity.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wasn't asked why I'm convinced. Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number one, the very first mined Bitcoin block. On a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with, a message of my choosing.
At Enchain, we've just funded a number of universities doing, so far, a test up to 1 gigabyte because it validates what we've already done independently. We've tested up to 380 gigabyte blocks. We've tested 1 million transactions a second and transaction sizes up to 20 megabytes. Super complex scripts. Basically ones that can run operating systems. That's all of global commerce times about 50. On top of that, we can have complex scripts. On top of that, we can scale each of those transactions 1,000 times, which effectively means about 1 billion transactions per second, which means we can then have all derivatives, all complex trades. That means high frequency trading. It means everything that happens globally.
Is the market that effectively BSV is going for, is that global e-commerce, which is currently valued at $29 trillion?
No, that's too small.
Buy and sell Bitcoin instantly at bsvgravity.com. And you can now book and pay for your winter holiday at skibsv.com. Alrighty everybody, it looks like we are live just after 5. Welcome to Satoshi TV, aka Bitcoinist VTV, aka It's Just Bitcoin and we know it. So let's just jump into these articles. You know, never a dull moment in this space. I love it. I love it. Before we jump into the news, let's just have a quick rundown of the figures. Today's day is Monday, the 9th of August 2021. Let's be gone. Transactions 55, 96.2% of the overall block size. That's data flowing through the chain. Let's have a look at these lovely chunks of data. 1876, 59, 138, 376, 316, 267, 461. My goodness me, how far in front are we now? I mean, when this airs, it'd be interesting to see where we are in a week's time. Look at that, we're at 161 gigabytes already. You know, literally, yeah, even in 10 or so days, you know, we're going to absolutely storming away with it. And miners will not be able to not notice this, even if they are blind. Let's have a look at prices, see what that $1 billion worth of tether printing has done today. It's quite an interesting experiment, really, when we know that $1 billion came in earlier today. Let's have a look at the core coin market on Bitfinex. So you can see here, look, so it's all in the green, and look, the market cap is now $1.9 trillion. So we were looking at that the other day and it was around like 1.6. So basically $300 million in terms of value has come into the market, and on the back of $1 billion being printed. So that just simply goes to show you here. Look, so $1 billion is roughly let me think. So 10% would be 2, so 5%. So all they've done is effectively pumped in 5% of the 24-hour trade volume, $1 billion, and the market has risen by $300 million. So you can see how they put the money in and then get the money out. It's literally just going to be a rug pull. You know, that's all they know. All they know is price manipulation. So look at that. You know, $1 billion printed, boom, price has gone up. And for those of you who might be a little bit skeptical about the billion. Let's just find it on whale alerts on our Twitter. Here we go. Whale alerts. This will come up. There we go. Come on. That's the one. Whale alerts. There we go. Should be listed here in all of its glory. Where is it? It's all this 1 hour ago. Good grief. Come on. I haven't seen this for a while. 3 hours ago. So this was like yesterday, really. God, look at that. No printing, no printing, no printing. That's Binance USD. 12 hours ago. There it is. 18 hours ago. $1 billion from out of nowhere at the press of a button. Printed and then boom. So 18 hours ago. When did this start? So that was 9 o'clock this morning when the price started pumping. Well, it probably started pumping from here actually. So yeah, sort of 2 a.m. this morning. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, so I mean, it coincides. It's just, there's no coincidence whatsoever. It's just absolutely hilarious. Total manipulation and no value in that whatsoever because it can't be sustained. You know, not unless you keep on printing, which they won't be able to do. The entire shitcoin market is dependent on Tether because none of them do anything. And talking about none of them doing anything. Let's jump into this first article here. Look at this. So SEC charges Poloniex for operating unregistered digital asset exchange. Now the question here is, so they've been charged, they've paid a fine, okay, then what? So what is the SEC gonna do? Because I think the only thing the SEC can do is fine people. You know, and let's say, you know, Poloniex, Poloniex was bought out by for 400 million. You know, profits are going to be huge. You know, bought out by Circle for I think it was 400 million. You know, which is more than a Premier League team. And now they've just been fined 10 million. It's just like, okay, well, you know, what's 10 million? You know, probably make that in, you know, a few months maybe, something like that. I mean, the profits that these shitcoin exchanges make are huge, but the issue is this going to have effect on shitcoiners? I mean, shitcoiners are literally the dumbest people on earth. So it's kind of like, it's official. Poloniex has been selling unregistered securities. They are securities. It's been proven they are securities. They've been fined because they are securities, and yet these shitcoiners are still going to buy them. If they're securities, they have no value. They do not give you shares in a company. They do not give you any equity. They do not give you the rights to any dividends. They are literally utterly worthless bits of speculative data that do nothing. So are they just going to let these shitcoiners, you know, fall on their face? You know, they're just basically not going to realize that they've lost everything until it's too late. You know, a bit like these double jabbers. You know, they're not going to know what's hit them until it's too late, and there's nothing they can do. They can't get this. You know, they can't get the jab, what's been jabbed into them, out of their system. You know, I mean, it's going to be catastrophic. You know, so what do you do? What do you do with these dumb people? I mean, what are they going to put some political spin on this, like $10 million fine? Oh yeah, we've been fined, but everything's all right now. No, it's not. I mean, who knows? I mean, I suppose the only thing is that at least the regulator now, when the market crashes, can say, well, we fined them $10 million, which means it proves they were illegal securities. What do you think you were doing? You know, how much warning do you need? How much of an explanation can we give before the penny drops? You know, pardon the pun. You know, it's crazy. So let's see what this says then. SEC charges Poloniex for operating unregistered digital asset exchange. So this was for immediate release, literally just earlier today. Washington, D.C., August 9th, 2021. The Securities and Exchange Commission today announced that Poloniex LLC has agreed to pay more than $10 million to settle charges for operating an unregistered online digital asset exchange in connection with its operation of a trading platform that facilitates buying and selling of digital asset securities. The SEC's order finds that from July 2017 through November 2019, when Poloniex sold its platform, Poloniex operated a web-based trading platform that facilitated buying and selling digital assets, including digital assets that were investment contracts and therefore securities. Right, and let's just play my favourite clip of Securities by the SEC, Gary Gensler and Vitalik Buterin. Where is it? Here we go, video shorts. Let's just play this right now and remind ourselves, for lulz, why not? Here we go. Just give it a second to come up, and we got it.
You just described some crypto as securities. Which ones do you think of as securities?
It's pretty clear, and the Supreme Court has actually spoken about this many times. If somebody is raising money, selling a token,
start the Ether pre-sale in a couple of weeks. So the Ether pre-sale will be an opportunity for anyone to purchase Ether. Where Ether is the internal currency inside of the Ethereum system, sort of like the XRP and Ripple.
And the buyer is anticipating profits.
What we're hoping is that sort of similar to what happened with Mastercoin. If that slice is something like 20%, and then the value of Ether goes up by 5, then we basically have the entire initial BTC that we got all over again.
Based on the efforts of that group.
About 100 people that are working on Ethereum right now.
Myself leading the protocol design.
And we also have branding teams, we have marketing teams.
That fits into something that's a security.
Partially in order to better flesh out the business plan, partially in order to better flesh out the terms, partially for legal reasons.
Love it, love it. So, according to the SEC's order, the Poloniex trading platform met the criteria of an exchange as defined by the securities laws because the trading platform provided the non-discretionary means for trade orders to interact and execute through the combined use of the Poloniex website, an order book, and the Poloniex trading engine. The order finds that notwithstanding its operation of the Poloniex trading platform, which was available to US investors, Poloniex did not register as a national securities exchange, nor did it operate pursuant to an exemption from registration at any time, and its failure to do so was a violation of Section 5 of the Securities Exchange Act. So I wonder which securities they've defined as securities, which shitcoins they've defined as securities. The SEC's order, so there no shitcoin project has ever come out and said, yes, we're securities. None. So which ones are they saying are securities? Well, they're all securities. The SEC's order further finds that in or around August 2017, Poloniex employees stated internally that they wanted Poloniex to be aggressive in making available for trading new digital assets on the Poloniex trading platform, including digital assets that might be considered securities under the Howey test, in an effort to increase market share. Further, according to the SEC's order, in or around July 2018, Poloniex determined that it would continue to provide users of Poloniex trading platform the ability to trade digital assets that it characterized as medium risk of being considered securities in light of the business rewards that would provide to Poloniex. Poloniex chose increased profits over compliance with the federal securities laws by including digital assets securities on its unregistered exchange, said Christian Littman, chief of the SEC Enforcement Division's cyber unit. Poloniex attempted to circumvent the SEC's regulatory regime, which applies to any marketplace for bringing together buyers and sellers of securities regardless of the applied technology. Without admitting or denying the SEC's findings, Poloniex agreed to the entry of a cease and desist order and agreed to pay a disgorgement of $8,484,313, prejudgment interest of $403,995, and a civil penalty of $1.5 million for a total of $10.3 million. The order establishes a fair fund for the benefit of victims. The SEC's investigation was concluded by we know all that. So there we go. They are selling unregistered securities. They are all securities, and not a single shitcoin project that I know of has come out and said, yeah, we're securities, when they are all securities. BTC is a security since Blockstream segregated the signatures on the 24th of August 2017. Bcrash is a security since they forked the chain and use governance and snore signatures and whatever. They're all centralized projects. It's absolute insanity. But like I said, shitcoin is shit for brains. What can you do? All right, let's move on to having a look on our favorite news outlet, which is CoinGecko. So let's read this one. This one sounds kind of quite interesting. So this is by Joshua Hensley. Said, how I monetized a YouTube video with less than 1k subscribers. All right, here we go. So social media influencers often do Q&A, questions and answer sessions with their followers via Twitter or Reddit posts, Patreon messages or live streams on YouTube. Often the influencer has issues trading the questions, shying away from controversial ones or missing some due to the large amount. Such inefficiencies can cause frustration with their following, as they are left feeling alienated as their questions remain ignored and unanswered. YouTube has the Super Chat feature, which allows viewers to pay to have their question or comment pinned. While this does help, Google's federates which channels can unlock this feature, and of course takes a large 30% cut of each contribution. Good grief. Super Chat is also problematic in the sense that the highest bidder gets their question answered, and those who were outbid essentially gave the influencer something for nothing in return. So it says pay to play is not necessarily bad for content creators. It's just inefficient in regard to revenue generation for the creator, moderation, and setting expectations with the communities. In efforts to combat these issues, I launched a Q&A tokens on the ReallyX exchange 3 days ahead of when I would record a YouTube video answering those questions. All right. So those who purchase these tokens, oh my god. Purchase these tokens. This is going to be another illegal security offering. You've got to be kidding me. Those who purchase these tokens could send them to me along with a question that I would answer in the video. 25 tokens were available for sale. Oh my god. At 0.04 BSV and sold out within the hour. A secondary market formed, and some did pay a premium to get their questions answered. They're still illegal securities. If you want to pay, you just send BSV. That's what you do. You do not create tokens, because if there's 25 tokens, it means they're fungible tokens. With a supply of 25. NFTs, individual tokens, fine, not a problem. But fungible tokens, where there are more than one, it's a security offering. This is such a stupid idea. A secondary market formed, and some did pay a premium to get their questions. A secondary market, so resale, again, so people buying them with the expectation of profit, looking to flip them. Oh my god. While pay to play is in full force here, expectations are set with my following. So no one feels left out. The 25 token supply indicates how many questions I will field at a maximum. There is no possibility where a follower gives me money in exchange for nothing. Additionally, market forces, so they're saying followers doesn't give them in exchange for nothing because they got a token, which they're buying with the expectation of profit. Additionally, market forces indicate the value of these questions, as opposed to pigeonholing myself into being yet another shameless promoter. So you're saying these tokens have got the value of the questions? That's absolutely insane. This is absolutely insane. You just simply get somebody to send you BSV. That's it. This is not a perfect solution, as some still may feel priced out, but at least they will not feel left out, as all had an equal opportunity to participate. It's a security. Oh my god. Oh my god. How can you not know what a security is and what is not by now? Like, honestly. In terms of revenue, mine was 100% instead of 70%. Yeah, because he said, all right, give me your money and I'll give you a token for a question. But you've got the expectation of a profit there. In the case someone did ask a controversial question, I had a strong incentive to answer it, but if I really did not want to entertain the question, I could refund the customer, preserving accountability. A strong incentive to field more incendiary questions exists simply because people love drama and would also promote further Q&A sessions on my YouTube channel. Lastly, as the irrational NFT craze continues, clearly the market still rejects the idea of real-world value tokens. While all 25 tokens sold out, only 7 were actually redeemed. They're all security offerings. You can't do that. It's so ridiculous. I theorize this was largely due to 2 reasons. I mean, he's saying, oh, these tokens have got the value of my questions. The tokens have got the value of me answering the questions for them. It's absolutely insane. I theorize this was largely due to 2 reasons. 1, the market not understand the utility of these NFTs. Oxymoronic, I know. 2, buyers trying to speculate and flip the NFTs with no intention of asking a question. While the tiered narrative still permeates in the BSV space that all tokens launched on data are scams, illegal, and only created to pump people's bags, this is just not the case. Speculators definitely still have a role in this new token economy, but prices in these markets are not designed to pump just because. The purpose of adding an exchangeable market is to improve the price discovery mechanism so that the price trends towards the actual value of the exchangeable good or service, and that product ends up in the hands to those that actually want it. In this case, since the secondary market formed so quickly, I should consider raising the initial price for the next Q&A tokens. People who speculate thinking tokens will rise in price will face the consequences, like the 18 who spent 0.4 BSV for nothing. What? So he's like laughing at people now, saying, "Oh right, yeah, you spent all this money and you got nothing." Like what? This is so stupid. Seriously, you know, you might be a techie. You need fundamental understanding before you jump in at the deep end, because you don't know what you're doing. This is so ridiculous, and everything's on chain. And with the law, ignorance is no excuse. Otherwise, every criminal would use that as their defense. Oh, I didn't know. You can't do that in the law. Overall, I consider this effort a large success, as YouTube pays me exactly $0 for my videos thus far, only because I have yet to meet their arbitrary thresholds. I instead leverage the Bitcoin network to earn between $150 to $200 for a single video, which he's basically taken from other people's pockets. I will certainly do this again, so he's going to scam people again, so stay tuned. Yeah, nice one. Oh my god. Check out the video answering the questions below. No, thanks, mate. Oh my god. Seriously, people? Seriously? This is absolutely nuts. Yeah, I'm quite disheartened after reading that, to be honest. Oh well, let's see what else there is. Alright, James Belding on Block Drops podcast. Tokenized goes beyond commercial record keeping. Alright, this sounds like a techie article. Let's see what's going on here. Alright. So, Patrick Thompson, good. So, James Belding, co-founder and CEO of Tokenized, recently joined the Backdrops podcast, where he and host Mauricio Magadali took a deep dive into Tokenized and how putting commercial record keeping on the blockchain has the power to introduce efficiencies in several industries. Thanks, Block Drops, for having me on the podcast. All right, I might follow them then. Have a look at these boys. Okay, cool. Are they? I hope they're not shitcoiners. Alright, I'll find out if they're shitcoiners later. I'm sure they won't be, otherwise James wouldn't be talking to them. Anyway, follow that bad boy. The increase in efficiency comes from having programmable contracts, a type of contract that is also referred to as a Ricardian contract. Ricardian contracts, that term was coined by Ian Grigg and his team. The idea is that it quantifies and structures contracts and the associated instruments such that the legal prose, the machine readable, machine readable, machine enforceable, human readable, and human enforceable terms of an agreement are all combined together with stored digitally. So like a digital transaction of contracts, Belding said. Belting and the team at Tokenized realized that when a contract is programmable and digitized, several processes can be automated that can free up resources with the company and increase the company's overall efficiency and its bottom line. What makes this optimization possible is that the traditional method of commercial record keeping is manual and inefficient. Traditionally, commercial record keeping, it's an extremely analog process. The experience can be likened to emailing your lawyer, the trustee involved, or some financial service provider who essentially manages the commercial record for you. Asking them things like, "Hey, when is the interest payment due? Have the other ones been made on time? How much am I short by? What am I expected to get?" All of that would be a manual process for that professional service provider, who would then open their cloud drive, grab the contract, read through it, understand it, look at transactions in the past, and compare that to what they should be getting. Maybe do some calculations and then report back to them saying, you should be due this much on this thing. Then what happens next time? To get the next update, they either have to ask again or do the work themselves. It has a lot of friction in it. It's non-intuitive, Belding said. Continue quoting here. "We've seen a lot of clients demand better digitalization of these processes, more real-time insights, just a better experience. And then service providers are also looking to be able to provide those better services to their customers. That applies pretty much everyone involved in that industry and all the different sides. They would all benefit and appreciate less administrative burdens, less material task, more high value and interesting work. That's where we see the big opportunity and are really targeting our efforts." Belding envisions Tokenized to be much further reaching than just commercial record keeping. Having tokenized contracts makes it possible for business opportunities to exist that were not possible without tokenized contracts. Belding and Magalidi also talk about how digitalization can create a real-time economy in which companies can have a higher degree of responsiveness. However, there is still a significant education component to blockchain technologies, which are relatively new, and many entrepreneurs are slow to implement new and innovative solutions. I think the most difficult challenge is the education part of it. People have to be comfortable with it. If people are going to be storing their commercial records on it, then they need to understand the risks, and that applies to the senior executives and the people who are responsible for the company, and quite often they're not technical. And what I have found is software and just software in itself is often something that people don't get or appreciate in a lot of ways, Belding said. Continued here, "In terms of appreciating the technical underpinnings that lead to a great user experience or an efficient user experience, it's quite difficult. And for someone who is not technical, it can be very difficult for them to wrap their head around it and appreciate the value that is going to be derived from it. The blockchain and digital currency spaces have come a long way, and companies like Tokenized are building enterprise solutions that businesses can implement to become more productive. However, the nascent industry can be tough for senior level management at companies to understand because they have not had experience using these new technologies. That's very true. To find out how Tokenized is creating a solution that frees up a company's resources, allowing them to put these resources to work in other areas of the company, why analog record keeping is a high friction process, and the use case Tokenized has beyond commercial record keeping. You're going to want to watch the episodes of Block Drops podcast that features Tokenized co-founder CEO James Belding. Excellent. I'll drop in and watch that. Jack Liu, James Belding, Eli Afram. Great stuff. Loving that. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Binance holds derivatives trading in Hong Kong. Yeah, we know that one. Digital currency ads making a return to Google. Yeah, we know about that already. Read that one yesterday. Alright, let's have a look at tech quickly. Alright, up to date on those that I'm interested in. Editorials. Oh, the Bitcoin Standard, a review. Well, let's have a look. This might well be scathing. The Bitcoin Standard, a review. This should be required reading for everyone in modern society, writes Michael Saylor, CEO MicroStrategy, in his foreword to the latest version of the Bitcoin Standard, subtitled The Decentralized Alternative to Central Banking by Saifedean Ammous. Saylor suggests that it was this book more than any other that provided the holistic economics framework that I needed to interpret the macroeconomic forces reshaping our world. Online reviews, social media posts, and Twitter bios echo similar sentiments. The book is apparently revelatory and life-changing, putting people on the Bitcoin Standard pathway, initiating them into the hodl culture of BTC maximalism. The Bitcoin Standard has become a standard reading in the crypto community. Oh dear, oh dear. The latest version, just released some 3 years after the original, is essentially unchanged other than the new foreword by the well-known BTC maximalist and promoter Saylor. The previous foreword by Nassim Taleb was effectively withdrawn in an angry public disagreement with Ammous, implying he was crackish and lunatic. Taleb pulled his endorsement from both the book and BTC as digital gold. So what's the fuss about? The book's 10 chapters are essentially in 3 parts. The first 3 chapters outline a particular theory and history of money. The next 4 intermix between a history of the gold standard and post-gold standard era politics and a kind of cultural anthropology of the impact of sound money and time preference on society. The 3 chapters are a more mundane description of a digital money version of Bitcoin. Jumping to the final 3 chapters, they are a worthwhile introduction to the newcomer wishing to understand the whole crypto movement, although it should be understood and Ammous regards Bitcoin's principal purpose as a form of universal sound money, a potential Bitcoin standard to replace the world economy's long-abandoned gold standard. However, citing the white paper, Ammous clarifies Satoshi's use case for Bitcoin. So quotes here, Satoshi Nakamoto's motivation for Bitcoin was to create purely peer-to-peer form of electronic cash that would not require trust in a third party for transactions and whose supply cannot be altered by any other party. Well, cash is the most liquid form of money, so BTC is not cash. And also cash has to be a commodity, and since BTC is a security, since the signatures were segregated on the 24th of August by Blockstream that changed it from a commodity to security and crashed its fundamental value to 0, this is probably not valid. Ammous describes what BTC has become in its prominent eyes, a global hard money to store financial wealth, which third-party intermediaries can hold and trade on their platforms, much like banks do now. Nothing the incongruity, he writes, while this view of Bitcoin might sound like it is a betrayal of Bitcoin's original vision, correct emphasis added, for fully peer-to-peer cash, it is not a new vision. The digital gold as a universal money idea has been around for over a decade before the white paper, but this had little, if anything, to do with Satoshi's white paper and was not the problem Satoshi was trying to solve. Casual transactions read small and uneconomic for banks, settling with electronic cash without the need for a fiduciary intermediary. The question we have to ask then is, if the Bitcoin described by Ammous and the vision around BTC does not actually serve Satoshi's motivation or vision for creating Bitcoin, why is the book called Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Standard, and why should we be interested in it? The book would be better titled The Digital Gold Standard. Reflecting what BTC maxis stand for, what motivates lies behind a move back to a form of gold standard. This is how we need to interpret it, the modus operandi of the earlier chapters of the book. Breaking down the standard. The first 3 chapters introduce the theory and history of money. Ammous retells the standard barter myth, Austrian school approach, also known as the metalist or Mengerian theory of money after Carl Menger. There is a particular focus on the Antal-Fickett's concept of the stock-to-flow ratio in determining how a monetary commodity emerges. It is a narrow and partial history of money, excluding the ubiquitous role of credit and governance, which are detailed in more comprehensive treatments of monetary history. The book's readable style is likely a factor in its success, yet it must be recognized that this is not an attempt to describe the history and emergence of money as it actually happened. The only focus on non-commodity monies here is to highlight particular instances in history where they have catastrophically broken down. Unsound money is always presented as the single causal factor. The casual factor. The role of exogenous geopolitical shocks is not considered. This is not atypical of the Austrian approach. Menger and von Mises drew the same arbitrary line around money, seeking to deny the legitimacy of any form of top-down governance, asserting that the only thing that can legitimately serve as money is a commodity, emerging through a market search process. In fact, that's what's going on at the moment. Like, market search is the utility and the transactions coming on chain, which we can see on CoinDance, because I love this. There we go. That there is what he has just described as... oh, crikey, I've lost my bit. Emerging through a market search process. Yes, indeed. So this is the market search process, and as we can see, transactions and data volume on chain is increasing exponentially. That is the market search process. All right, brilliant. I think I just closed that tab. Oh my goodness me. Let's get back on it then. Sorry about this, folks. Apologise. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Check it out. Must be fate. Get back in there. Here we go. There we go. So emerging through a market search process. Irrespective of the disapproval of the Austrian school, commodity monies have existed alongside other monies of varying types for thousands of years, variously competing and complementing according to the context. Monetary systems largely emerged through top-down socio-political arrangements for temples and priests, to pharaohs, philosopher kings, knights templar, merchants, notaries, credit brokers, bankers, governments, and central banks. In contrast, the traditional methodology of Austrian school seeks to develop theories and narratives based on priori deductive reasoning for the presumed desire of individual human actions. Praxeology, they call it. Any legitimate role of governance in the multi-dimensional socio-political relations around money is assumed away by ideological fiat, derided as an unnecessary intervention in the market which can only end in disaster. More dogma than theory or history, the history of money is complicated and far more interesting than the simplistic narrative presented. It is when we get into the middle section of the book that things really get bad. It's overly long with ideas scattered and repeated. The only narrative thread being the twin evils of unsound money. And John Maynard Keynes. Chapter 4 on governance money is unscholarly in spirit. We're told the gold standard is responsible for everything good that ever happened in the 19th century, and civilization essentially ended with the demise of the gold standard. The tale is right from the fictional reserve banking is a fraud, sub-branch of Austrian economics. The legitimate, essential to capitalist growth role of business entrepreneurs going to entrepreneurial bankers to seek fresh credit, new money created as a loan ex nihilo, based on good collateral and good prospects, is completely ignored. Any expansion of money beyond gold is implied to be fraudulent and, again, destined to end in disaster. This is fatal. This is a fatal blind spot. Bitcoin is, after all, an electronic cash system, neither intended to nor capable of replacing banking. This is quite a long article, actually. This is politics and economics. Yeah. Okay. Right. That's quite a long article. Right. We'll leave it there, folks. Right. If anybody is in the chat box, I've just literally got to turn my my tab long because I had it charging, so I can't see anybody in there. But if you are in there, throw your handles and paymails in there right now, because as soon as my tablet opens, I shall be dinging the dong. So I'm just going to open my phone right now. There we go. Opening Handcash. Lovely jubbly. My tablet is just opening right now. Tell you what we'll do. I'll do the usual ones. Elvis Cool Cat. It's a funny one. LV is normally listening. Elvis Cool Cat. There we go. Swiping to send on the way to Yao. Got it. I'm just opening up my tablet here. Lovely jubbly. We'll do Orange Kick. Normally puts handling the last minute. There we go. Swiping to send on the way. And we'll do Keith Fellows on the way to Yo. Here we go. BIG. Big blocks. Got it. Swiping to send. And we'll do KP Dad as well, because he's another regular. Here we go. KP Dad, got it. Swiping to send on the way. There we go. Opening up my Twitch TV. There we go. I can see the chat box now. Chuck your handles and paymails in there. If I have missed you, I think Pikes is normally in there, and JPaps was in there this morning. There we go, Pikes. There we go. Swiping to send on the way. Oh, KP Dad, yo, good to see you. I've just dinged you a dong. Thank you very much. Let's see who else there was. JPaps, of course. JP. There we go. JPaps, another one. Swiping to send on the way. There we go. I think that's everybody. Anyone else? We'll do an 8-second countdown. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're done. Hope you enjoyed the show. As ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there. Joy giving. Catch you guys later. Get paid for posting your pics on Relica. Download the app now at www.getrelica.com. Get your tweet etched on Twitch, forever on the Bitcoin blockchain. Do it today at www.jointwitch.com. BuyBSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online. Support independent content creators on micropayment platforms such as Streamanity, Twitch and Relica. We should profit from our data, not the large corporations who track, monitor and sell it. If you enjoy the Bitcoin content that I produce, please support me by heading over to www.satoshi.tv, where you can keep up to date with all the latest news, gossip and content as it's created. Thanks very much. To get started in Bitcoin, go to freebsv.com, where you can claim your free Bitcoin. Then head over to Twitter and follow @IamSatoshi, where you can take part in his very generous and world famous free giveaways. The future of advertising meets the power of Bitcoin at Tonic Pow. Get paid for posting advertising campaigns to your social media profiles. Go to www.tonicpowads.com.